In the early 1990s and 2000s, there used to be a kids' network, one that would advertise and show kids shows that, albeit weren't from the respective company itself. Things like Disney shows or episodes of Power Rangers and various other kid shows. It was basically one of those free channels that you could watch, but was nevertheless aimed at the younger audiences. I would know because I remember growing up with it. Many of its own programs were lost to time, and the few people that have the episodes don't really remember much of what was missing anyway, so it's safe to say they're lost forever. Except for the various bumpers. The network was actually quite liked by most kids at that time. I remember for a fact that I used to like it as well. From what I remember, albeit a very small amount, I remember that there was one specific show. One that gave me distinct nightmares. Granted, I only remember a decent amount of it, and like I said, the episodes that probably remain are now lost to time. The show was based off the network's name, Planetarium Studios, although reworked, instead called Planetary Adventurous. They essentially were a bunch of puppets that would go on various galactic adventures to different planets in our solar system, and even just in general explore space. It was an interesting show, and the puppets were actually quite funny, one specifically known as the General, a rather goofy looking puppet with a generic military commander hat on. Now, the reason why this show gave me distinctive nightmares is because of one episode in particular. One that, from what I can remember, was never surfaced on any other type of platform. Believe me, if I could show you it, I very much would. But I've looked in the deepest, darkest recesses of the internet, and I couldn't find it. Not once, not even a single mention of it. Made me think I was going insane at first until, surely enough, I did find some conspiratory people yapping about the episode on some kind of message board of some kind. Nevertheless, I remember that the episode itself, granted, wasn't shown anywhere else on the deepest, darkest parts of the internet, was also recounted by other people that remembered different parts of it. The episode was titled Lost in Darkness, a bit of an ominous name. Now, from what else I can remember from my viewing experience, the camera slowly settled in on the spaceship. More specifically, the quarters of the General. He was writing in his journal about how far they've come recently, adventuring many different planets, when he then spoke to the fourth wall as he would, just casually speaking to the audience and greeting them into the show. The General would then talk about some more plans and perhaps hints to later episodes, when the camera then focused to a certain fixed spot out the window. The puppet would get up and move to the window, giving a rather somber look. He would sigh and then say how space can be pretty lonely, and that the other two puppets, Jack and Cameron, the two, I'd say, main characters aside from the General, were out exploring the vastness of space and some particular planet. He then decided that we should perhaps go meet them, as surely enough he slowly gets ready, putting on a spacesuit. It then cuts to the entrance of the cardboard ship, albeit done pretty well, as he leaves and touches down on this red-looking planet. Distinctly orange as well, in some regards. It actually kind of looked like the logo of the entire network, given the fact that they had this sort of profile picture or logo. As the general basically explains some stuff about the planet and what they know so far, he then turns to the camera, seemingly raising one of his weird, soft eyebrows, and the voice actor making a rather worried expression. Guys, do you know where they are? I can't seem to see them anywhere, and as far as I know, they're not meant to be this far away from me. This would, surely enough, usually be the part where the audience would say something back, and they would assume it would be a yes or a no, and they would want to help the character. Like how it would happen in Dora the Explorer, or something like that. But surely enough, he then said to the camera, "Oh, who am I kidding? I shouldn't be asking you these things." What happens next is a more somberly sort of almost forced sigh, as he then said, "Who knows? Maybe we'll find them pretty soon. Let's keep adventuring." He then walks around the planet some more, aimlessly. No music, and no voice actor to boot. Just a somber walk through the planet. Eventually, after the walk finally comes to an end, he then goes to the spaceship, simply sitting at the console, going off into the endless darkness. "Space is a big place, you know," he says, chuckling at the fact that what he said rhymed. He then says something about how, in the end, nothing really matters considering how big space is, and one little star could basically be nothing in a sea of stars, as he then looks at the console, and then back at the camera. He then looks more into the darkness as if spacing out, the camera slowly zooming in on his face. A worried expression takes over him, as he finally said, I think we may be lost in the darkness." The episode, surely enough, would end with that random, sort of rather cryptic outlook on the thing itself. I don't know what that really meant, and neither does anyone else that saw the episode, but from what I do remember, to me it seems like a hopeless warning. Warning to those that want to adventure out into space and see all that there is, when really, all there is and ever will be is darkness and cold, empty space.